Savai mana Krishna padara vindayor vachangshi vaikunta gunanuvarmane karo harer mandira marjanadishu shrutim chakarachuta satkadoddaye mukunda lingalaya darshane drishau tatprityagatre sparshenga sangamam Granam chatatpada sarocha saurabhe Shri Mattulasya tas anamtad arpite Badao hare kshetra pada nusarpate pane Shiro rishikesha pada bivandane Kamam chadasye natu kamakam yaya Yatottama shloka janasharaya rati. King Ambarish, first of all, engaged his mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Then, one after another, he engaged his words in describing the transcendental qualities of the Lord, his hands in mopping the temple of the Lord, his ears in hearing of the activities of the Lord, his eyes in seeing the transcendental forms of the Lord, his body in touching the bodies of the devotees, his sense of smell in smelling the scents of the lotus flowers offered to the Lord, his tongue in tasting the tulasi leaf offered at the lotus feet of the Lord, his legs in going to places of pilgrimage and the temple of the Lord, his head in offering obeisances unto the Lord, and his desires in executing the mission of the Lord. All these transcendental activities are quite befitting a pure devotee. This transcendental stage may be inexpressible subjectively by the followers of the impersonalist path, but it becomes very easy and practical for a person in Krishna consciousness, as is apparent in the above description of the engagements of Maharaj Ambarish. Unless the mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord by constant remembrance, such transcendental engagements are not practical. In the devotional service of the Lord, therefore, these prescribed activities are called arjana, or engaging all the senses in the service of the Lord. The senses and the mind require engagements. Simple abnegation is not practical. Therefore, for people in general, especially those who are not in the renounced order of life, transcendental engagement of the senses and the mind, as described above, is the perfect process for transcendental achievement, which is called yukta in the Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. Nukam karoti vachalang pangung langayate girin yat kripa tangahang vande shri gurun dinataranam Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militang Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare I read again the translation of the verse. When the yogi, by practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desires, he is said to be well established in yoga. So we are here in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. The 6th chapter is about Ashtanga Yoga. It's explained, or respectively the title is Dhyan Yoga. And Krishna is explaining to Arjuna how to control the mind, how to become steady in yoga. And he was telling him in the previous verses, 16, 17, to keep balance in all of his activities. Oh, we would need, Sanjay, would you be able to translate into German for Kishorik and Mataji?
But I have to go 10 minutes before half.
10 minutes before half. At least she gets something. Ja? Thank you. Kishorik und Sanjay, Prabhu wird für dich übersetzen. So, Krishna told him to keep balance in sleeping, eating, mating, and working, sleeping, recreation, habits, eating, sleeping, recreation, and work. He should keep balance. And what is the effect of keeping balance in all of our activities? The effect is we come on the level of sattva gun. Yeah? A balance, a regularity in our activities is helping us to rise from a level of ignorance or rajas, passion, on the level of sattva gun. Sattva gun, we know, is the jumping board to spirituality. Yeah? Regularity in our life helps us to approach things in a peaceful state of mind, not to immediately become agitated if something goes wrong. That means on a regulated platform we gain slowly a bit of control over our senses and mind. Yeah? Yoga means actually to gain control over the senses and the mind and to engage them again in the service of the Lord. So regularity is a very important aspect on this yoga path. And once we reached a certain sattvic attitude towards our habits in eating, sleeping, recreation, and working, what results from that is, Krishna explains, when the yogi, by practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities, so the mind is becoming regulated. Like the mind can be explained with a lake where the wind is coming in and produces a lot of waves. And the more we become regulated in our habits, these waves are becoming even. They are becoming flat. Our mind is not jumping up and down. Like at one moment we are full of joy and the other moment we are completely sad. This is happening in a person whose mind is not regulated. But a yogi who is practicing balance in all of his activities, his mind becomes steady. And on that level, it is said, when the yogi, by practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, he can even transgress in such a situation where he becomes able to control his mind and his senses. He can even transgress material energy and come on the transcendental plane, on the transcendental platform. It is said in Bhagavad Gita, in the 18th chapter, on that platform, na sochati, na kankshati. We are not anymore desiring anything, we are not hankering for anything, and we are not lamenting about anything. The yogi is completely peaceful. He is Atmaram. He is satisfied within himself. And it's described here, devoid of all material desires. This is the level of transcendence. To be devoid of all material desires. Such a person, such a yogi is beyond time, place, and circumstances. They have no influence anymore on the yogi. For us, it matters. When we are in a holy dham like Singhachalang, we feel enthusiastic to do spiritual activities. But maybe when we are in the middle of the city of Vienna, it's a bit more difficult to be enthusiastic, because the modes are so strongly affecting the mind. Or when we are in Vrindavan, there the atmosphere is surcharged with spiritual energy. So we feel automatically spiritualized just by bringing our body there. So for us, the place is of importance. We depend on a conducive environment to be able also to absorb nicely in our spiritual practice. But for a yogi who has transcended the material realm and has reached the level of transcendence, for him it doesn't matter. Time, place, and circumstance doesn't matter. He is always Atmaram. He is always fully self-satisfied. He is always without material desires. Maybe we may think, do we really want to achieve that? When we start practicing Bhakti Yoga, we are on the path to reach that level. But not only there, to even go beyond. Because the yogi, he feels already satisfied to have no material desires anymore. Then he is full of bliss. But the devotee, he knows for him the path is not yet done, it goes on. Because the devotee is aspiring for a personal, loving exchange with his Lord. And what he is doing to reach there, he is not going the difficult path of a yogi. A yogi with his mental power restricts his senses in engaging with the objects of the world, which is very difficult. Prabhupada writes in the purport, it's not possible that the mind and the senses are not active. They are always active. So for a yogi to hold them back with his mental strength is very difficult. We know the story of Shobhari Muni. He was a great mystic. He was meditating for 60,000 years in the Yamuna. He was thinking, I go in the water. There, nothing can distract my meditation. I will be safe. What is there for us to, or for him to enjoy with his senses? Nothing. So he felt, this is a good place for me to perform my yogic practice. And he stayed there for 60,000 years. And he had to control his mind and his senses for 60,000 years. Can you imagine? And at one moment, it so happened that he was not in control of half of his eyesight, a sense of view. Yeah? His left eye opened. Usually he was meditating with closed eyes. But at one moment his left eye opened. Half of his sense of vision. And in that moment, destiny arranged that two fishes came, and in front of his one eye, they had sexual intercourse with each other. And immediately the yogi got attracted. And all of his 60,000 long years in the Yamuna were gone. Imagine, he left the Yamuna, he went to Mathura, and he married the 50 daughters of the king of Mathura. Only after some long years of enjoyment, he realized, actually, what am I doing? I lose all my spiritual benefit. And he went back. He took again renunciation, and he continued his spiritual practices after some time of enjoyment. But there we see even such a long period of yogic practices were not successful. It's very difficult. Later on in this 6th chapter also, Arjuna asks Krishna, how will we be able to control the mind? It is more difficult to control the mind than to control the wind. So how will I ever be able to control my mind? This path seems to me unpractical. And Krishna told him, yes, you're right. It needs detachment and it needs a suitable practice. But not detachment in the sense that we reject all material objects. Yeah? The Bhakta, he goes the path of Yukta Vairagya. Vairagya means to deject, to renounce. But Yukta, in relating and connecting everything with the Supreme Lord and bringing everything in the service, using all the material objects in the service to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the renunciation of the Bhakta. The yogi, he practices so-called Falgu Vairagya. He's also renouncing all the sense objects, this Maya. Don't get involved in it. But this kind of renunciation we call imperfect form, Falgu, on incomplete form of renunciation. Because as we see in the story of Shobari Muni, it did not help. All the rejection of material elements, it did not help him to become fully self-realized. He stumbled on the path and he got entangled again very intensely in material energy. But what does the Bhakta do? He takes his senses, because the senses and the mind, they are our instruments with which we get in contact with the world. And they were given to us to use them. But we have to learn how to use them properly so that they are not engaging or entangling us in the material energy. Someone remembers what example Srila Prabhupada gives in the purport of which devotee, how he engaged all his senses in the service of the Lord? Maharaj Ambarish, yes. How he started to put all his senses in the service of the Lord. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayor. He took his mind and he connected his mind with the lotus feet of the Lord. This is how a material activity changes into a devotional activity. This is what we did in the beginning of the class with asking for blessings. Mukam karoti vachalang pangung langayate gerim. By the mercy of the spiritual master, even a dumb man can talk and a lame man can cross mountains. Without the mercy of the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord, we cannot do anything. A devotee understands that, and by connecting with the Supreme Lord, everything what he does is done in devotional activity. This is the first and most important point on our bhakti path. Always remember, connect the mind with the Lord. Yeah? In a simple prayer, please, my dear Lord, engage me in your service. Yeah? And this is what Ambarish Maharaj did. And then he took all of his senses and engaged them in the service of the Lord. Prabhupada said in the purport, this is archana. This is deity worship. With his eyes, he saw the murti of the Lord. With his ears, he heard the pastimes of the Lord. With his nose, he smelled the tulasi leaves who were offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. With his hands, he was touching the devotees like Tulsi Devi. Yeah? With his legs, he went on pilgrimage tour or visiting temples. And all his activities he engaged in pleasing Krishna. So in this way, the devotee doesn't need to restrain his senses with all his strength. And after many, many years of practice, realize, a little distraction and I'm already off the path. Yeah? No. What happens if we put our senses in the service of the Lord? Krishna told that to Arjuna already in the 2nd chapter. Param drishtva nivartate. We gain a higher taste by employing our senses in the service of the Lord. Automatically, some effects are there which are helping us to get a taste. The effect, for example, is there that our impurities are washed away. Our material desires are washed away. Our ahankar is dissolved. Avaya. What happens if our ahankar is not there anymore? We come automatically again into the understanding, dasosmi. I'm a servant. I'm a servant of the Lord. And in this attitude, we do not desire to do anything else than to serve the Lord. We develop a higher taste. We just want to hear about the Lord. We just want to see the deity of the Lord. We just want to use our walking ability to move to temples or to go on pilgrimage. Like those in Indian body, they know that when there is holiday, one is going on pilgrimage. Yeah? They use the holiday time to go on pilgrimage. Not to go to a lonely island and to bathe and have some fun, yeah, as Westerners used to do in their holidays. No, Indians, they don't know that kind of holiday. They use the time when they have free from their work to visit temples, to do their spiritual activities, which is very pious. Yeah? And this is happening when we have a higher taste. Then we do not want to go to some holiday park, yeah? But we want to spend the time at the temple. Like now, so many devotees are coming because of the celebration of Lord Nishingadev. Yeah? They just want to be part of the celebration. Why? Because they understand this is a source for me to develop my higher taste. after that, we will practically fly. Yeah? After this weekend, we will be surcharged with transcendental energy. So the only thing what the devotee needs to do is to connect. Yeah? He needs to connect. What is the requirement for devotional service? Rupa Goswami says it's desire. As simple as that. It's desire. It's not a huge amount of wealth. It's not a super intelligence. It's not a good parentage. And it's not beauty. It's none of that. Simply, it's desire. It's also not a qualification by a certain varna. Let's say we need to be Brahminically oriented. No need. We can be Shudra or less than that. Yeah? Like we in the West, we have grown up without any Vedic background. This is even below the Shudras. But still, since we are spirit by nature, yeah, we have that eternal right. It's not even a birthright. It goes beyond birth. Yeah? It's our eternal right. Each soul has that right to practice devotional service. And for that reason, we try to develop that desire. Yes, I want to again engage in my eternal duty, my eternal activity as spirit soul, which is in connecting. Savai mana Krishna Padara Vindayor. If you take one thing out of this class, then take this point, connect your mind with the lotus feet of the Lord. In all of our activities, beginning from early morning, already when we wake up, we connect again. We understand we are dasa, we are servants, and we are meant to please Guru and Krishna. Like Srila Prabhupada so wonderfully mentioned, he was writing a beautiful poem, the Chaladutta poem, when he reached Boston, 1965. He was writing, "My dear Lord, I'm just like a puppet in your hands. If you like, you can make me dance. Make me dance as you wish. You can make me a success or a failure. Make me dance, my Lord, as you desire." This should be our attitude. Every morning we can again remember this attitude. Yes, I'm actually just like a puppet in the Lord's hands. And if He wants, He can make me a success or He can make me a failure. It's up to Him. Sometimes a failure, externally seen, is internally seen a help for our spiritual progress. Because an external failure may put us in a humble position. And that helps us to grow spiritually. Yeah? And externally seen a success may just increase our ahankar. So sometimes Krishna may choose that we face a failure in our practice. But we should not despair, knowing well that Krishna is ultimately the one who is in control. He is the puppeteer. And if it's His desire, we gladly accept. Because our desire is to come at least on that platform of the yogi, on the transcendental platform where he is na shochati, na kangshati. He is not desiring, he is not hankering and not desiring anything. But a devotee's goal is even beyond that. He does not only want the impersonal Brahman. He is aspiring for a loving exchange with the Supreme Lord. This kind of bliss, what he can derive in the exchange with the Supreme Lord, is called Prem Ananda. Yeah? It's the highest form of bliss, and it's ever increasing. Jagadananda Das Pandit, an associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he explains it in his Prema Vaivarta, he says, this Premananda is like a shoreless ocean of which is ever increasing and it's full of nectar. So it's a nectarian ocean which is shoreless. This we cannot imagine. An ocean without shores we cannot imagine. And this ocean is ever increasing. This also we cannot imagine with our tiny little brains. But this is there. And we have a right to taste that ocean. Yeah? Therefore, we are meant to follow in the footsteps of Ambarish Maharaj and connect our mind in all of our activities with the lotus feet of the Lord, and then use our senses, which are our instruments, in the service of the Lord. Our eyes, our ears, our nose, our tongue, our fingers, our legs, everything should be 24 hours engaged in the service of the Lord. And then the senses are not entangling us anymore in material energy. They are described as poisonous snakes. And when we use the senses in Krishna's service, the poisonous tooth of the snake is taken out. And the senses become harmless. In fact, the senses even help us to become Krishna conscious. As bhaktas, we don't need to hold the senses back. Yeah? The yogi has a hard time to keep them back, to control the mind and the senses. Even Arjuna is telling Krishna, it's so difficult to control the mind. It's even more easy to control the wind. And Krishna says, yes, use your senses. Don't hold them back. Don't restrain your senses. Use them, but use them in a perfect way so that they lead you to perfection, not to entanglement. And all of you have assembled here to celebrate the Shinga Chaturdashi, and this is already the perfect form to engage our senses. The next days will be very joyful. A lot of events are going on. A lot of different functions are planned. It will be very opulent, that festival. There will be every day from Wednesday on Kirtan till 10 in the night. And lectures are going on. Functions with parikrams, ceremonies are there, yagyas are there. So everyone definitely finds something. And of course, sumptuous prasadam will be there also. So everyone finds definitely something where he can engage his senses in and become fully satisfied in that. Yeah, this is the path, the easy path of the bhakta. Prabhupada says for the bhakta it's very easy. Yeah? It's even enjoyable. Huh? For the yogi, it's a hard, tough path, full of dangers. But for the bhakta, it's full of bliss. From the beginning on already. We can taste the wonderful Shrikant. Yeah? In the form of prasadam, all of us can already now taste some of the bliss of the spiritual world. It's the easiest form to taste the nectar. And then also in the darshans and in the kirtans and the lectures, we can taste some more drops of nectar. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. This is what I wanted to share with you today. Are there any questions or comments? Yes?
I have two questions.
Mm-hmm.
So the first question is, so you said that if we perform devotional service, then our desires and ahankara Volkswagen will go, so it will feel like removed. Right? So, and maybe, is it possible maybe to describe how it, as a process, how it will be, how our desires will be removed, how ahankara will go, maybe one example?
The devotional service is that activity which has the power to eradicate reactions on our past activities, pious activities and impious activities. Devotional service is nullifying all the reactions. And as long as there are reactions, positive or negative, we also need to come again in the cycle of birth and death to nullify them. That's the intention of the cosmic manifestation. As long as there is karmic reaction, we cannot be liberated from the cycle of birth and death. And as long as we are not liberated, there is an ahankar. Yeah? And by performing devotional service, these desires to commit sinful activities are also eradicated, because by performing devotional service, we develop knowledge. And what kind of knowledge? We understand who we are, who Krishna is, and what is our relationship. And then we understand what is favorable for devotional service and what is unfavorable. So the unfavorable part means to commit activities which have positive or negative karmic effects, we learn to avoid. And in this way, our reactions diminish and our ahankar is also dissolved, because we do not anymore hanker. This I want to have, that I want to have. You understand? No, it's not about me, it's about the Lord. So the ahankar is also diminished. Yeah? So the whole subtle body is eradicated by performing devotional service. But although this is such an immense effect, it is not the main effect why we perform devotional service. Yeah? This should not be our intention. I perform devotional service so that I become purified. It's still motivated. Yeah? The sole motivation for us in performing devotional service should be for you, my Lord, just to please you. Yeah? With no intention. I get the benefit of that. I become purified. I want to be pure. No? This is still selfish motivated. No, devotional service ultimately is only in pleasing the Lord. Yeah? And He can do with it whatever He wants. Yeah? And still we become purified. And still our ahankar is diminished. And when our ahankar is diminished and the balance of positive and negative karmic reaction is on zero, what happens? Back home. Yeah? By the performance of devotional service. Hare Krishna.
It's not related to the topic today, but it's like deity worship. If we offer the fire, then we offer the fire to different parts of the deity, and I wanted to know why to different parts of the deity.
The fire is this element what the Lord loves the most. Therefore, it is offered the longest. So different parts of the body are worshipped to prolong the worship in itself. In the beginning, when the movement started, an aratik lasted around 55 minutes, much longer than now. It was Yamuna Devi who told us that time the aratik was not only done to the feet, the navel, the head and the full body, but also to the knees and to the elbows and the hands, to many more different parts, and therefore it lasted much longer. Yeah? So now it is reduced on 20 minutes, but the lamp still, because this is like alive for the Lord. It's flickering, the lamp. Yeah? He loves that a lot. Therefore we offer it the longest. Also, fire is supposed to dispel ignorance. Jai Shishi Prahlad Lakshmini Singha Bhagavan Ki Jai. And previously, and still nowadays in India, some South Indian temples, they do not have electric light. They have only candlelight. And then the aratik is offered. And what means aratik? Ratrik. A means not. Ratri is night, not night. And aratik is dispelling the night by offering the lamp to the Lord. Yeah?
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Hare Krishna. Yes?
So, just to understand more clear, what the mistake of that sage who meditated? He had wrong motivation, or he had proper guidance?
He was just like suppressing his senses but not purifying them. Yeah? And as soon as he saw something what could agitate his senses, he was gone. His whole meditation was gone. It's like you close eyes. No, I cannot look, I cannot look, I cannot look. And by thinking like that, he was thinking at one point, I will transcend and I will become liberated. But that's not the way how it goes. Yeah? Better is, like we have that example of the water tube. If you hold the end of the water tube, the water may at one point come out on the sides of the tube because the pressure is there. Yeah? So also with our senses, just by holding them back, they don't become purified. But we purify them by actively engaging them in the service of the Lord, which is much easier and even blissful also. Yeah? The yogic path is very, very difficult and dangerous. Krishna himself says it's dangerous to walk that path. Yeah? Accidents can happen on the way, as we see in Shobari Muni's case. Yeah? Okay. Grantara Srimad-Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.